into the new year. We've had some very important things we've been dealing with today already, and so we're behind schedule. So I've asked Allison Blassie to kind of condense the presentation somewhat, but not to overlook anyone that's here in anything they want to present. So I don't want to cut you short, but it might be a slightly modified plan of what you see in the agenda here. So I think we've accomplished a lot this year. Unfortunately, in the next year, there's going to be some accomplishments that maybe aren't going to be quite as pleasurable as we've done this year. That will have to be accomplished just due to facts of life. But as long as we enter into next year, or some of us enter into next year with open eyes and open minds, continue to work as a team, I think we can meet the goals and objectives of serving the citizens. So with that, I'll open the meeting and turn it over to Tom and Allison.
Okay, in the spirit of what the board chair has asked for, comments will be very brief. Welcome. Nice to have you all here, and thanks for all your support during the year. Appreciate it. You want to go around the table or just take comments?
Allison, you want to lead us in the game plan here?
It's a slightly altered game plan. At one point, I was working on a PowerPoint presentation, and the idea was going to be kind of like, a family slideshow. And
functional as we are.
With the idea that if we went around, people would chime in about accomplishments in their particular departments or whatever. But since we've been asked to skip and condense, or condense and skip, the overall presentation and try and move through this relatively quickly will spare the visual effects. So I'll just say that in terms of when I started out looking at the PowerPoint, it was interesting to look back at last year and what we said the priorities were for the year and how we've done on accomplishing it, etc. And what struck me in the list of priorities, just so people know, I'm sure you can rattle off the priorities: water, roads, long-range planning, economic development. Those are the key priorities that the board has had. But there was another priority that was on the list, and that was strategic planning. And so I do want to comment a little bit on, instead of planning strategically, what we tried to do was actually focus in on the things that we would be strategically planning about. So I think that when we set that as a priority before, the thought was, well, there's going to be some kind of grand strategic planning process that we would engage in. And I think probably a number of us had mixed feelings about what that would look like, particularly when we're already busy at this point, and particularly when, as board members have commented, oftentimes the strategic planning ends up in some kind of document that no one ever pays attention to. So instead what we did was we tried to really look at economic development from the standpoint of people who were experts in that field, talking about what the possibilities were in the county. And we looked at strategic planning from the standpoint of individual departments, focusing on what they needed to do in the next year and in the years after that. So I think the strategic planning that we set as a priority looked like one thing, but I think the reality is it's a lot more active and organic than that. There's not going to be this final report that people are never going to read again. What it is what HHSA has done in terms of having their strategic plan. It's the strategic planning that we're going to be involved in with technology. It's basically the whole microwave system has been a form of strategic planning to get to an objective. And so I just think it's a different way of looking at it, but it's one that I think suits us more and will get us closer to where we wanted to go. And then one priority that cropped up that wasn't on the list to begin with was marijuana, which kind of follow through, but Janine reminded me that this year has been a year where that was addressed, both with the cultivation ordinance at the beginning of the year and then Measure B mid-year. However one feels about it, those are items that represented decisions being made and work being done and are things that got accomplished. So just wanted to comment on that from a priority standpoint. We'll talk later about priorities for next year, but it's always important to think about what it is that we actually have accomplished. And so I'd invite any of the rest of the people around the table to talk about particular accomplishments that we think should be noted. And last thing I'll say from the executive office standpoint is that we are almost fully staffed and we consider that an accomplishment.
Well, there's many things that we did this year. Of course, we settled our long-running case. Attorney General settled it for us, but nice to have that off of our the MCM case. We also responded to some small smoke events this summer that some of us might have noticed. We have begun our upgrade of our air monitoring system. The instruments are up and running as of today, although we are still waiting on the modem. And particularly like to thank GSA and IS for helping us out. Becky's been wonderful on that. We also, I think I'm the one person around the table right now who can say our budget's in really good shape. We're in good shape. We've got a lot of money in the bank, a lot of money on reserves, and we're doing very well fiscally at the moment.
Reserves, didn't know.
Yes. Well, we got rid of some positions a year and a half ago, 18 months ago, restructured, and we're reaping the benefits of that. Until the state decides to get down after they've done robbing redevelopment districts, we're going to rob their districts. We'll see. Done.
So next, I'm happy to report we've had some very successful prosecutions involving murder cases in the county. At this point, we're also making some good headway on the games. Although some of that, I think we're attributing to the departure of Detective Stark from the police department, because some of the arrests have gone down since he's been gone. So I won't say that the problem's gone by any stretch of the imagination, but we are getting a lot of tools to deal with it. I'm also very pleased to report, again, the MCM settlement. They initially wanted to give the county of Mendocino $100,000, and through my negotiations, we ended up with about $500,000. It's partly why they have more money and why our office will be receiving more money to be used in the area of consumer protection. There are, as sometimes happens, strings attached to the money that comes through. We also have been completely inundated with marijuana cases to where the attorneys can almost not move with that problem. Some of the changes in the law are making it better for us. We had Tim Stone get a good conviction on a possession of marijuana case at jury trial, and we just had a plea come down last Monday in a 647 plant case that we would not have gotten before. So at least we're beginning to see perhaps a turn there, but again, we're overrun with the cases to where that's about all we can handle. We are still short in victim witness. We're still missing an attorney at this time, so short an attorney. We're still at the levels that we were over 10 years ago on our secretaries, so we are not at all where we need to be, but we've made great strides.
I guess, I don't know if it would be in a